My name is Karen Sutton-Ford. I'm president of Sutton Ford in Matteson, as they say, Matteson, Illinois. I actually go by Karen Ford, really. It's just really ironic that my last name is Sutton-Ford. So I would say some of the earliest memories were just, being a child and him coming home from work. So I just remember a briefcase, this is back in the 90s. So they have back in the day, a big briefcase. And I remember he'd get home from work and he would flip us. I have two older sisters. So, you're all excited when your parent gets home from work and you put your feet on his legs. He's 6'5", and he'd flip you and we'd just be so excited. Some of the early memories were, as a kid, you think it's just so cool, right? Daddy, did you fire anybody today? And he took that extremely seriously. Like, that's not fun. It's not funny. So we started actually learning about what it takes to be a leader and what it takes to be a business owner from a young age, just by being a kid and being curious. So those are some of the early memories of, mostly it was when he got home from work. Feel alive. Some of it is kind of going back on, just my dad and knowing that you knew what he was going to wear every day. He always pretty much had a starched white or a light blue shirt, necktie, dress pants. So that's kind of what helped make it feel alive, was just his presence and his aesthetic going to work. But also the story, and anytime he tells the story about the dealership and how he became an owner, he cries. And so I think that's really what helped it feel real, because you understand, why is he crying? And he's crying because he's just so full of gratitude, and he's just so thankful and grateful that, he's living a life that he could have never hoped, dream, or imagined. And the way it was put together, and it's really nothing but God. And so that is probably, I would say, the story is the story. And when we talk about scents and smells and, how does it make it real for you? A lot of that is, this is what he did to put food on the table for us. So it's how he was dressed to go to work, the smell of the cologne, and my mom being such a big support and there's three of us. And so making sure that we were all taken care of, because he worked long hours. And so it's really a lot of it, again, I guess that's what I would say, is between scent, smell, and the actual story. So apparently I was around 11. My parents say that I've always said that this is what I wanted to do. A lot of it probably came from because it was cool, right? You wanted to follow in your parents' footsteps. You thought it looked cool. But I enjoy talking. I enjoy talking to people. I enjoy challenges. So that sales aspect of it was intriguing to me. I went to school for finance, but I never wavered in what I wanted to do. I always said that this is what I want to do. Actually, my dream was to take over and hopefully expand someday. It's a blessing to say that I'm doing what I said I was going to do. And actually, in the days of Twitter and Instagram, my handle is Call Me Ms. CEO. I did that, before. This was, probably at least 10 years before I ended up in this position. And so we talk about speaking things into existence. I've always, like I said, I was working somewhere else. I was working at IBM, or I was working at Toyota, but my handle was always Call Me Ms. CEO. So I know it's something that seems so simple, but to say that I've always wanted to do this, it's true. So my parents really had that foresight, and I'm really grateful for them for that. But it was always the rule. My parents, like I said, we all grew up in the car business, and they said we couldn't come work here, and they preferred for us to go work corporate America. And the reason why they wanted us to work in corporate America, in the words of my father, because you need to get, what did he say? You need to get eaten up. They'll eat you alive. But corporate actually teaches you so many things. He came from corporate America himself, and my mom as well. And so corporate, they have the resources, they have the training, they have the knowledge and the background. And so that's really what he wanted us to go to corporate America for, was you have to understand networking, you have to understand what it takes to try to climb and get to the next level. You're gonna have some managers that you work for that you don't really like and you don't agree with. You get to see all these different management styles. So that was really the premise behind going to corporate America. But it also gives you a skill set that it's kind of intangible, where you're learning from the environment. You don't really realize what you're getting from it. So that was really why it was a push, but I'm truly grateful that that's what the path that because growing up in the car, most people in the car business grew up. They started as a salesperson. They might have gotten into it by accident. They might not go to college, which is okay, but then they work their way up. But this allowed us to, to have a really big breadth of knowledge. And then to see, like, coming from corporate America into the car dealership, you're like, this is disorganized. They're behind. But a lot of it is, again, we don't have those resources. You're still a small business. We've grown, we've been blessed to grow, but, so now we have over 100 team members, but we're always a small business. So you're just really trying to figure it out as you go. Yeah, I actually started in our fleet department. So fleet is business to business sales. Fleet is an old business. When I say old, I was always the youngest person in the room by far. I probably still would be the youngest person in the room. And we had, at the time that I came in 2015, we had 2 managers here who were in their 70s. Unfortunately, one of our previous fleet managers passed away. And so when he passed away, we lost his book of business. The other 2 managers, they kind of cherry picked which accounts that they wanted, but that manager that passed away had the relationship with those accounts. So, and we run them as individual business units. So basically, what business you get is what business you get paid on. So they weren't willing to train anybody. They weren't willing to show anybody or give them any accounts because they're like, this is how I get paid. This is how I feed my family. So my dad thought to himself, well, they have to train Karen, right? They can't say no. So, and then that way he could still pay them on what they were doing, but I'm learning. So that's where I started. I started in the fleet department. I started like stocking in cars, billing deals, learning how to do bids. And then I started realizing things. We're doing bids and that they were using whiteout. And I was like, I don't think that this is how this should be done. And so I was able to hire, at the time he's still here, Alex Kadish as a fleet salesperson. And I just kind of looked at it, I said, Dad, the reason why you're not getting anybody is because the dealership business is commission-based. Well, nobody's gonna come to do something like that and then be in the hole, and they have to dig themselves out the hole, so they're just not making a lot of money. I said, so we should think about this differently and give them a guarantee. So that's pretty much how it worked. Now Alex is the vice president of our commercial and fleet department. The business is essentially tripled. And so I started in fleet, and then I could, fleet still teaches you the sales side, how to deliver vehicles. And then I started like sniffing around. And I knew that in the auto space, typically you get trapped in sales. So I knew I wanted to go to service and parts prior to going to sales. I wanted to do sales last. I did a little bit in service and parts. I did NADA school, which is Dealer Academy. And that kind of helped me to see all the other departments. And I had done accounting, like I did a little bit of accounting in high school and college. And so I kind of knew some of the desk in accounting. So I went to service parts, but sales has been our kind of Achilles heel for the past 10 years, ever since Ford's been getting away from cars. And so that's how I started to get into sales. So I got to do every portion of the dealership, and then until I got to sit in this chair. Yeah, I think they were just trying to do their best as parents. And so they might not have realized that it was preparing us. That just their parenting and challenging us. But there's one particular scenario, which of course I tell my people, my dad has selective amnesia. But I remember I got home from college and it's summer break. And I remember coming downstairs. My dad woke me up. I came downstairs and he's getting ready for work. And he says, I need you to go upstairs, put on a suit, get on the next train, go downtown and get a job. I was like, this man has lost his mind. And I literally just started crying. And he's like, what? Like, what? Why did that upset you so much? What is going on? I was actually trying to stall and miss the train. But also, it was like, Dad, that's scary. I'm not gonna, what do you expect me to do? Just go knock on random doors and ask for a job? And that in itself was a lesson, because he said, do you know how many people I have knock on my door every day for a job? He said, it is a dog-eat-dog world out there. And you are just here for summer break like you don't need to earn money. He said, you have to be hungry. You have to know what it takes to get a job and keep a job. You need to be able to elevate. You should be working on yourself and working on doing something every day. You're not going to just sit in here and watch TV and enjoy your summer break. So there were lessons like that actually happened. I don't think he was intentionally teaching me the lesson, but he taught me that lesson. They were strict. So I remember high school, I pulled up, we had this old Taurus. My sister and I, we all had to share a car. And the brakes, it's just, you're rolling up to school. And I remember people saying like, don't your parents own a car dealership? It's like, yeah, but we got to figure this out. We're blessed to have a car. And, you get a B in that car. Everything was contingent upon the car. You talk back, you act up, the car is gone. I think that those are lessons they were teaching us, was to be humble and to be appreciative, because not everybody, you have to work hard. And then they also really taught us about giving back. So from the organizations they were in, the organizations they put us in, to have to volunteer, to understand that you might be blessed, but you need to pass those blessings on to others. So I guess some of it was formal. I'm sure they planned it and it was intentional, but some of it was informal, of just being good character citizens and challenging us. So when my dad actually got the call, so basically, again, my parents told us to go work corporate America, figure it out. And I was living in the Bay Area of California, and I was working at Toyota, and I got the call. So the call existed of, it's time to come home, I'm tired. And I thought to myself, man, I'm enjoying this. This weather is awesome, and I'm starting to meet people. What do you mean come home? So I ended up stalling. That's probably, I guess, a theme for me right now. But people came to stay with me and go visit Stanford or go visit all these nice elite schools, and I've heard about a 1-year MBA program. So I said, hey, Dad, give me a year. I want to go get my MBA. Great. But I say that to say, when I left Toyota, so I go in, I'm like, yeah, I'm going to go give my 2 weeks notice. I bawled crying. I mean, I'm in my manager's office, and she's like looking at me like, is it really that serious? But really, the reason I was crying, because I thought to myself, this is it. What if you're not successful? You are giving up a corporate job with a secure paycheck to go work in the family business. And what if you don't make it? That's really what was going through my head. Am I going to be able to jump back into corporate America? Am I going to be able to, to pay my bills and fulfill the life that I think that I hope to have? So that's really when I doubted myself, was the day that I went into the manager's office to resign from corporate America. And again, my parents, like I said, they take it easy on us relatively, especially when I look at like other dealer kids and stuff. I know that I'm blessed. But I remember too, when even just trying to buy the store, and I said, from my parents, and of course they gave us a fantastic deal, but he's like, you need to go get a loan. I said, what do you mean I need to get a loan? Like, can't I just get a loan from the Bank of Dad? And he said, no, he said, at this time I was married, and he said, you need to know what it means to go to your spouse and ask them for a second mortgage on your home to fulfill your dream. I said, say what? And he's like, I had to do it. He said, as a dealer, you are the last to get paid. You are responsible for all of these other families, and you have all these expenses, and you get paid last. So when you have a bad month, and this is your dream, and you're telling your spouse, I'm an entrepreneur, and I'm trying to figure this out, we need some more money. He said, you need to know what that feels like. So that was a sense of doubt. Was like, am I ever gonna, like, what if I end up in this situation? And am I gonna be prepared to have this conversation? We're thinking about having kids. Am I going to be prepared if we have kids to say, hey, I'm running out of money? So those were some of the scenarios where I doubted myself. So at that stage, honestly, the business was performing well. So I just knew I had to get through it. I just knew that I had to even if I just continued it and it didn't grow, that we could get through it. And so at that stage, it really, really becomes about your community. And I knew my dad wasn't going to just leave me hanging. He was going to help us. He's going to step in. He wasn't just like, okay, here you are. And so I knew that I had the right, of course, my faith, as well as, of course, like I've been, and actually it's been in my Bible study lately. My favorite Bible verse is, a lot of people know Jeremiah 29:11. For I know the plans I have for you, declares the Lord, plans to prosper you, not to harm you, plans to give you hope in the future. So in my mind, I always knew that the Lord is not going to bring me here to just let me fall on my face. And like my sister, we work together. There's part of different organizations that really help you to build your business. They give you advice and they give you feedback, and give you various recommendations. So in those times, I just had to really lean back on what brought me here. Early on, actually, I was doing a film for Ford, and they asked me a question about, like, how does it feel to be living your dream? And you move so quickly in everyday life that I realized at that moment, I never took the time to pause and relish, and I'm actually living out my dream. And so some days you have to kind of pinch yourself because you're just so used to the hustle and bustle and you're moving to stop and say, thank you, Lord. And we're doing this. And I appreciate it, and please help me to continue doing it. Because what we're doing is providing a future for people. I say we are a for-profit business. Don't get it twisted. We're here to make money. However, by the team members that we employ, by the community, the car deals that we're getting done, you still are able to impact and change people's lives. And that's really what we're doing it for. Not doing it, it's not for greed. It's to, put that out there in the atmosphere. So yeah, there's just sometimes you just have to slow down and just be grateful and say, I actually am living out my wildest dream. So actually it wasn't as hard as I anticipated it to be. And a lot of that is because we actually proved ourselves. We had to work. So a lot of dealer kids, they go out, they go to college, they have a great time, and then they come in and it's like, I'm running things. No. We had to work our way up, and we had to earn where we are today. And so I think that helped a lot because people were like, I worked alongside them and I asked questions. So even though they knew, I'm not going to be in this department long, but I'm asking questions. I'm trying to understand what they're doing and why they're doing it. So we actually had a couple of people retire. And so I said, Dad, you left me here and your team is leaving. And he said, yeah, that's my team. He said, it's time for you to build your team. You need to find the people who will go through a wall for you. And that's really what being a leader and being a business owner or coach is all about, is because you can't do it without your team. And so I really didn't have a hard time with the respect. Maybe some of it's my leadership style, but also I think that my dad did a really good job of passing the torch, because he basically laid it out. This is what's coming up next. And then like I said, I started in Fleet and then worked my way. And so then I think people were able to see, well, wow, she was able to do that in Fleet. And I'm not coming in cocky. I'm not coming in, bureaucratic or, so I think that it became more natural. People knew who I was. I mean, some people that worked here, well, like I said, we had a lot of people retire, but they knew. Our previous controller, she used to joke that I would sit on her lap and get candy out of her drawer. And they actually really took it in a positive way, that to be able to see me grow up and then to see me start taking over, it's like, wow. So it worked really well in my favor. And yeah, so we did have to, there's some people that you might have to part ways with, but it's not like this mass exodus. It's a different leadership style, and is somebody okay with getting on board to what the new vision is? The first word that comes to mind is scary. My parents go to Florida for about half the year. And so my parents were in Florida. And I remember, nobody knew what was going on. So I remember going to the TV by the service department. And I looked at the TV and I panicked. And I went and I called my dad. And he answered the phone. He said, "I'm about to tee off. Is it that important?" And I was like, "Well, I think I have to lay people off." "You got it." Click. And that's essentially what started everything. So I was like, okay, like I don't know what to do, right? I've never been in this situation before, and I just had to roll up my sleeves. I remember I went to the technicians and I said, "I think we're shut down." So I had to basically lay everybody off, and I started crying. And I just excused myself just because like I said, we've talked about a little bit, these are people's livelihoods, and you pull the rug from under them. It ended up being a blessing that we're essential, and we can, we can bring everybody back, and it did give us the opportunity to reevaluate ourselves and see, what maybe expenses that we had that we didn't need to continue. So it actually kind of gave me a clean slate for running things, because I was able to say, you know what, basically, okay, all this stuff is gonna go away, and then I get to start fresh. So it was scary because you didn't know what was going to happen. I thought we had to close down, and then you have people not coming to work because we don't know how safe it is to come to work. It was just, so it ended up all working out. But yes, that expedited everything, because the succession plan was for me to take over in 2023. And that was back, when COVID was first announced. It didn't live in warm climates. So that's why my dad said he wasn't coming back. It was nice that he had the faith and the trust in me to be able to take it from where we were. But it just all happened so quickly. So I basically took over 3 years before the quote unquote plan. And it's worked out so far. So my first thoughts at the moment was obviously that I was scared, and I was like, I feel like drinking from a fire hose is a totally different level. But then on the other side, I felt a sense of pride, because in that moment, my dad was literally saying, he literally said, "You got this." And to have that faith in you that you really can take it from here and do whatever is next on the list. So there's a lot of mixed emotions. Like every other business, could not put our hands on any Lysol, any cleaning products. I think we ended up getting Clorox and mixing it with stuff. Just really trying to make sure that everybody here is safe. I appreciated them coming in, but they had to do what's best for them and their families, and you don't want to expose them and take something back. So just trying to put our hands and make sure that we are doing what we can to keep our individuals safe. Obviously, we are considered essential because people need vehicles. Like we said, we're a big fleet business, so we fix police vehicles, and people had to get on the road to get to hopefully save some other lives. And so we had just the same challenges that a lot of people did. And then once the inventory was gone, it was like, okay, now what am I supposed to sell? How am I supposed to make money to pay these bills and to pay for people to come in? So we had a lot of the same challenges. Like I said, there's always a silver lining. And I took that as an opportunity to reevaluate our business and to see, okay, what can we cut out? Obviously, we've been able to do without a lot. What can we cut out? What are we going to add back in? What are we going to revisit? So it was challenging. I had, at the time I had this is what 2020. I had a 2-year-old. I can't stay at home and then ask other people to come in and expose themselves. So I'm coming into work every day. We're all trying to get masks, and and cleaning supplies. And I just remember I thought to myself, I would feel so guilty if I brought this back home. I had a manager who stepped away and said, hey, Karen, I gotta do what's best for me and my family. And I can't blame him for that. But at that time, it was like, what am I supposed to do? I'm literally, now I have to try to desk deals. I have to try to, make sure everybody's okay in service and parts. And so, like I said, it put me in an uncomfortable situation, but I think it was also good for me and for my growth. So IBM, Toyota, it's corporate. So there's a lot of layers. There's a lot of levels. Kind of, it's like more to me, like more of a bureaucratic environment. But it still showed me that, okay, there's a chain of command. It also showed me, just following up on things. So I might take a different leadership approach now than what I saw in that environment. But a lot of times your environment helps determine the type of leadership that you're going to do. So I'm more autonomous. I let the managers do what they think is best, laissez-faire maybe, and I just basically, somebody told me one time, inspect what you expect, and that's what I do. I hold them accountable. We have maybe a report card or things what metrics we want to hit, and so you can do whatever you need to do to get there. But this is the end result that I would like to see. Definitely. So I would call my dad all the time. And he finally was like, I think that's when he realized, he was like, okay, I really am tired. So my mentor, who's Dennis Banks, so I would call him, but for the day-to-day, I would call my dad. Like I said, I called him every day. Well, I was fussing to my dad about something that was happening here. And I'm like, I said, Dennis could do it for this, for all this that we're going through. And 2 days later, my dad calls me and he's like, what do you think about hiring Dennis? I'm like, what? He's like, well, when you spoke this out of frustration, I thought about it, and I'm tired, and he's your mentor, and he's got 34 years of corporate experience, and his touch, his style. So even though he doesn't have the automotive experience, he can still guide you as you're trying to figure out the leadership role. And so Dennis has been with us now. I think he started in 2022. So he's been with us now 3 years, and it's been a blessing. So now, even though we had a informal mentorship, now I literally work with him on a side-by-side on a day-to-day basis, so he can mentor myself and my sister throughout hopefully the next couple of years until he decides to retire. So Dennis is an old family friend. So I think they met at church years ago. He and his wife and my parents used to run the marriage ministry at church. So we talk personal. He's a mentor, personal and professional. And I think that it's really worked out really well for us. He loves my husband, he loves my boys, and we look up to them I think they've been married, Zen 35. So they've been married 35 years. So it's been a blessing. Yeah, we met years ago. You're not gonna be everybody's favorite when you do so. But you have to just try to take your emotions out of it. And when people say it's just business, you're literally making a business decision for what you think is the right decision at that time. So we've pivoted in COVID, right? Sometimes you have to pivot away from individuals. Your culture, like the people say, culture eats strategy for breakfast. So if you have somebody on your team who is a hindrance to your culture, they might be a very, very good worker, and they might generate you a lot of money. But if they're not best for your culture, you're gonna have to pivot. We've had a few tough conversations. And I remember when Dennis, my mentor, he said, are you going to choose Pruitt over profit or profit over Pruitt? And then that's the lens that we make our decisions through. So a destination dealership for me would be anytime anybody thinks about a vehicle. It could be service parts, the actual running of the vehicle. I want them to think of Sutton Ford. That's what destination means to me. We want to be a place where people feel welcome, where they feel valued, and we understand that nobody wants to go get their car serviced. If you're walking into a dealership, you're spending money. Totally understand that. I personally don't want to go to a dealership, but that's why I want to make it a destination, because it should be a place that if you're going to go to a dealership, you don't even think about going to one of the third-party places, right? The tire shop or something. When you think of anything that's in your vehicle, you like tell somebody, I want to go to Sutton Ford. It's comfortable to be in, they have good coffee, whatever it is that makes us the destination. But I think what's gonna make us the destination is the people. It's the people and that we have, because we are a family-oriented, welcoming environment. So that's why I want to be a destination. So my father's vision, he just wanted to have one dealership and just do a great job at it. And he's done a phenomenal job. And now we have 4 dealerships. But even just solely at this location, the main difference, like you have to pivot so many times. Like he's been through recessions, he's been through cash for clunkers, he's been through so many of them. But that's why his saving strategy of how much we put aside helps you get through those trying times. COVID, we're always gonna have, he said the people that go out of business are usually end up broke. So you wanna keep a certain amount of savings for just in case something happens. The industry has shifted, we're going away from cars, we're focusing on trucks, but we're in an urban market. So it's extremely difficult for us to sell trucks because nobody wants to drive a big old truck in the city. You gotta worry about parking and gas mileage. From modern, I would say, when he started, they didn't have computers, they didn't have the internet. And one of the things that he said when in the process of taking over was like, I don't do social media, you gotta take this stuff because marketing and everything has evolved. So I just try my best to stay on top of what's needed. When I went and got my MBA, I tried to do a focus on marketing because that is what drives people into your business. But I really just try to stay abreast on what's going on. I try to hire experts in the fields so that we can make sure we stay relevant. So from modern to present day, the foundation remains the same. And then it's everything else, the day-to-day business that really changes. And you just gotta try to stay on top of it as best you can. Right now we have AI. I tell people, I said, this must be how we feel now with AI, must be how my parents or business owners or whoever else felt when the internet came out. Because they were like, oh, this thing's not gonna last, or what is this? And then it actually changed the trajectory of the business. Now, with the internet, I have a dealer right down the road from me who undercuts my price, and it's just a race to the bottom. So now your profit, you don't really make money on selling new cars. And then AI is like, okay, I can market my vehicles using AI, or I can go look up, about this dealership using AI. There's AI, I can get an AI receptionist. So now we're trying to figure it out. I had a little bit of resistance. I can remember a particular situation where it was around collecting money. So when we have incentives, you had to get with Ford and make sure you get the money. And I was sitting on the phone and I was following up with the manager. Then I was told I collected a lot of money that was aged receivables. And then the feedback was, oh, that's just because of her last name. I'm like, well, wait a minute. I'm showing you how I got it done, and I'm telling you to do it just how I did it, and you're not doing it how I did it. I actually think that I got this done because of the way I followed up and my experience. That was where some of that corporate America experience came in. And so that's an example of some change that people weren't necessarily ready for. I don't like the way that she's running things, but it's our money, and so I don't understand why it's sitting out so long. Change is difficult. I don't even like change. When our IT, I said, oh, you got to get Windows 11. I'm like, oh no, I'm fine over here because I know where everything is. And so change is difficult, but it's necessary. So otherwise we're gonna become dinosaurs and become extinct. So for the most part, it's just really just getting everybody on board, giving plenty of notice, and then also getting that feedback. If you tell somebody that they have to change this, you're gonna be met with resistance. But if you say, hey, this is what I'm thinking, how do you think this is gonna work in your department? How can we make this work? This is the reason why I think we need to do this. Then usually once you get everybody on board and get the buy-in, it makes it a lot easier. So yeah, in moments of doubt, I really take a deep breath. We talk about breathe. You take a deep breath, you have to remember your faith and in my community. So, I'm grateful that I have a husband who I can lean on he's like the calm to my storm. And, you know, I think about COVID, like, and I was just like freaking out. And he's like, Karen, it's fine. I got this. Like, I got home, you go do that. And, you know, I just had to, at that point I had to say, this is why I have a partner. This is why I have somebody, this is why I married him first off, but also it's your village. It's your village and your community. You have to be able to lean on people when you need it the most. You know, I can't do this alone. And so I would really say definitely the faith, just go back. I go back to what I feel is what my foundation is on. I had to, just during uncertain times, is, you know, I'm with them. I feel it just as though they feel it. For example, when we have a bad snowstorm, you know, my husband was like, oh, you don't need to go to work. And I'm like, well, my team is going to work. So I'm gonna figure out how to get there, because I'm not that type of leader that has the team trudging through 4 inches of snow and putting their lives at risk to open up if I'm not going to be there. You'll see me on the lot taking snow off the vehicles. I remember jumping in a plow truck 8 months pregnant, but I wasn't plowing, but I was curious as to how the plow, like how the process worked, why I decided to do it when I was 8 months pregnant. I don't know. I could have done that, like, you know, years past. And as soon as we hit the first bank, I was like, oh, okay, yeah, I'm gonna excuse myself. But you'll see me out there shoveling with them. I'm never gonna be too good for any job. If I have to pick up some garbage off the lot that got missed, I'm gonna do that. I'm gonna wash a vehicle. I'm going to, you know, go support your child's fundraiser. Whatever it is, we're all in this together. Yeah, it's our core values. Personal growth, respect, urgency, integrity, teamwork. We stand by every single letter. Personal growth, just seeing some of the individuals we've had here since they were 15 years old, and they are knocking the cover off the ball. Our service manager, our parts manager, they've both been with us since they were really young. The individuals that retired, to be able to hear them say, like, working at Sutton Ford and working at Sutton Ford and what that's done for me and my family, that's why our destination is the people that we have here. We're nothing without our team members. And I just want everybody to experience them. You're gonna get a genuine smile, you're gonna get a genuine laugh, and we're here for you. To continue the work, we actually hired somebody for CSR, corporate social responsibility. So we actually now have particular headcount for all those endeavors. And the reason why we saw that as important is because when I took over, you know, people were coming to me like, okay, we want money for this and we want money for that. And I'm like, I don't know who I should give money to and what for. And my parents, you know, they explained to me what they do. Right, they give mostly to faith-based organizations, but obviously through the dealership, you know, when you're doing stuff locally, it's not always going to be faith-based. That on top of your work. So when we hired, her name is Shantae, and you guys might have seen her on she's always in the background, and she does a lot for our giving. But when we hired Shantae, she had experience with the Obama Foundation, and she would come to me and she'd say, you know, Karen, you know, what about this organization? Did you give to them last year? I was like, I don't know. Like, when I say it was disorganized, it was just essentially how I felt that day. And we really needed a plan. We needed to understand what percentage of our profit is going to go back into the community, what percentage of it is going to go to the faith-based organizations that we believe in, and what percentage is going to go, you know, for everyday thing. You know, do I sponsor my son's baseball team, and then you got to look at the ROI behind it. We don't just give money, but then also you don't want to just give money. You actually want to physically be able to give your time and your energy. And so we want to make sure that we're partnering with the organizations that we feel that we believe in and that we'll give back to. Just to clarify, when I say organizations that we believe in, there are so many great organizations out there, and we believe in a lot of them. We just cannot give to all of them. And so we actually look at the organizations. We look to see, have they supported us? Do they have members of the organization who have supported us? So it's kind of a, you scratch my back, I scratch yours, as well as just depends on what we're doing at the time for the business. Because even though it's a monetary donation, or you're giving back your time and your energy, it's our name and our brand out there. So we still need it to work for us in a way. So not to sound like we're only giving to get anything back, but we believe in a lot of there's a lot of great organizations out here doing great work. And we just have to make sure that they tie in at the time with what our vision and what our brand is doing. All of the organizations that I am a part of are community service-based organizations. And so the Links Incorporated, Delta Sigma Theta, Sorority Incorporated, our church is the Emmaus community, and that's actually the premise of why I joined those organizations. We do a lot in the community. Every organization has different like programs that they do, whether it be for youth or scholarship, and so it just depends on what committee I joined at the time. But that's really the premise behind those organizations and why I'm a part of them. Obviously for me in church, we actually helped plant this church, and the pastor of the church was my youth pastor growing up. So it's a full circle moment where she says, like, my feet didn't even used to touch the ground back when she was ministering to us. And so that's a full circle moment for me, for my children to have been dedicated to the Lord by her. And also she married me. So the church is something that's really important to me, because I want my children to just have some of those same values that my husband and I have. So I love the Emmaus community. I love what they do in the community. Lately, we actually don't meet for fourth Sunday. We do something in the community. So whether it's packing food, making blankets, visiting nursing homes, whatever it is that they decide for that Sunday. And I just think that that's something that's important for my sons to see. And even though they're young, they get to participate in it. We do some stuff that's particularly just for the community, just so to make sure that everybody in the surrounding communities know that we're here, that we exist, and that we give back. But there's also the more philanthropic side as it relates to the types of organizations that from history with my parents giving to, as well as one thing that we're passionate about is education. So education is so expensive, and we do like Governor State is local, we have Prairie State, and we'll do a lot, even with my HBCUs though, where the goal is just to lower somebody's debt. I mean, in this day and age, with college being so expensive, so people are trying to better themselves and they literally can't afford to better themselves. So that's one of the things that we do as well. Education, like I say, the mind is a terrible thing to waste. And we would love to see people, personal growth is part of our core values. We want to see you grow, and if this is what's hindering you from growing, maybe we can step in and be of help. Obviously, we can't send everybody to college, but hopefully we're able to help get people across that finish line. Yeah, so I remember my dad has this young man from church, and he said, well, he wants to be a car dealer one day, and find something for him to do at work. And just to see him, we started him. Typically, we start you washing cars, and then maybe we can find we need some help in accounting, or we need some help in parts. And just to see him start coming out of his shell, he started off so quiet. I said, I don't know if he's gonna make it. And just to see him coming out of his shell and morph into what he's doing, and come back from college, like now he's in college, and come back from college and say, hey, I appreciate you giving me the opportunity. That helped me with XYZ. We had some interns a couple of years ago, and my dad texted me, hey, I got this, I gave your information out. I was speaking at this event, and somebody's interested in selling parts someday. And I was like, what? And I kid you not, my phone started blowing up. I said, Dad, you told me you gave my information to one person. He goes, he must have shared the information. So we ended up with like 3 interns that year. But the individual he wants to do something in parts someday. So we put him in the parts department. And I think he wants to do it, and it's not medical supplies. I think it's around airplane supplies. But he can learn from the dealership to see what does it take to source parts? What does it take to organize them, to make sure they're being sold, and all the systems. And he came back for a second summer. And just to see that and to see the growth of these individuals and how it does apply to them in college. I mean, he's at it's not MIT, but one of the really, really elite schools. And just to know that, wow, we actually have made an impact just by allowing them to come and work here and learn in the automotive industry. And I really hope that maybe one day he does continue in automotive. But if not, just to be able to know that them working here has impacted them and helped them to move forward. It's that's why you get up and do it again. It really fills you. So yeah, I think it's the need that's out there. Like I said earlier, I've always been raised that if you are blessed, you pass those blessings on to others. And just to understand that people are really in an everyday, some people, it's an everyday battle. And I just hate to see that. And that's really what's most humbling, is to see that there are people out there who are really trying their best. And, they might have made a bad decision years ago and it's still impacting them. But everybody deserves a second chance. Some people deserve a third chance. And so I take it on a case-by-case basis. Just because you made a mistake when you were 16, why should you be punished for it when you're 30? We have an individual who works with us who his dad started working with us and said, I really want to get my son a job. He's driving Uber, but he made a mistake when he was in school. I said, okay, it's a mistake. And I kid you not, he's still with us and he has truly excelled. And just to think that you were going to sit on the sidelines and say, oh, I'll never be able to get a good job because this happened to me. And then actually, I went back and looked at it. When I pulled it didn't even come up on his record. But I guess he had been told, or I don't know when it fell off. And so now I still kind of try to mentor him from afar. Where I told him he had been with us, I think it was his second year, I said, you need to go ask for a raise. He was like, what? And it reminded me of what my dad did to me. And I said, you show up to work on time, you've done this, you've grown, you go to your manager and say, hey, look, I know I was a green pea. I know that you guys have trained me and everything, but according to my numbers and according to my scorecard, I think I should get a raise. And, so I took him into the manager's office. And not to say that you should always have to ask for a raise, but you also still need to always speak up for yourself. Because there's going to be some times when we're not really truly paying attention, right? You're doing your everyday, and the pay plan is the pay plan. But now you should go from a beginner pay plan to a senior pay plan or a step above. So yeah, so it's humbling to see, and it really does fill your heart when that philanthropic part, you can really see it come to fruition. So a lot of that award, the Ally Sees Her award, was, for me, a lot of it is in the definition of the name. Like, people see me. Like, wow, I'm doing some work, and I'm trying to put my head down, and they see me. So it meant a lot to, one, be seen, and then, when you receive the award and people are congratulating you, to understand that the work that you're doing on a day-to-day basis as a woman in a male-dominated industry where you don't let some of the stuff knock you down. And they're saying, we see you. And you're like, it just meant a lot. It meant a lot that there are a lot of women doing great things in the automotive business, and to have been chosen for that award. And it's, like I said, it's humbling. It makes you really want to make sure you continue to do the work, because you don't know who you're touching. You don't know what lives you could potentially be impacting. Giving initiatives, yeah, of course, anything that has to do with HBCU, I love, because I graduated from HBCU. So I graduated from the Hampton University. And just to be able to give back to organizations that also support students that are going to HBCUs. With the Ally Seashore Award, I was able to donate $10,000. They gave me $10,000 to donate to any organization of my choice. And I got to donate to Seeking Visions Gaining Success, which is an organization that was started from a lot of my friends from college. And they give scholarships to, at the time it was just young men who are going to HBCUs. So that's what means a lot to me, because, you know, I went to a historically Black college, and my parents didn't really want us to, because they thought it was a false environment. But in reality, it teaches you so much about the real world. And that's like the only place that you can go and really be submerged in your culture. And then you realize how diverse you are among being Black individuals. So, you know, because you have people from Baltimore, people from California. You guys are all raised differently. New York, it's like you see how diverse you are among yourselves. And so that's why HBCUs are particularly important to me, because of what it does for the Black community. HBCU isn't for everybody, but as for me personally, I think that was one of the best decisions that I made, was going. I think I needed it. I think it's helped me, the network and the camaraderie that you get from HBCU. But also it's important to my family, because me going, my sister went to HBCU for a year, but me going helped my parents realize. And that's why they also like to donate to HBCUs now. So my parents always felt as though a historically Black college or university was a false environment, is because you're only around 98% of the people that you're around are African Americans. Well, that's not the real world. You go into corporate America, you're the only one in the room. And so that they thought, like, oh wait, is this really gonna prepare her or them, my sisters and I, for the real world? And I think that they were able to see something different, because of how diverse we are among ourselves, as well as when companies are coming to recruit. I mean, obviously things have changed in this realm right now, but when companies are coming to recruit, they're coming to recruit Black people. Versus at another school, you're still competing against so many. There was that among the companies, as well as when you're at an HBCU, we used to call it the Hampton runaround. And so, you know, your documents aren't there that need to, you know, you got to go figure out how to get into this class. But that's actually the real world. You know, when you call a customer service and you're trying to get something fixed, you need to learn how to ask for who you spoke to. You need to learn how to write down what day and time. You get a lot of that at an HBCU. Of course, I want the community to know how much we care and how much we give back. We wouldn't be here, we wouldn't still be here if it wasn't for the people that work with us, as well as the community. It's the community that supports you that keeps you afloat, which is why it's so important to give back. So, you know, I want to be known as an auto dealer who gives back to their community. But I'm giving back. When I do give back, it's outside of the auto industry. So just like I tell people all the time, the auto industry has a terrible rep. You're not known. Nobody goes to college. Nobody graduates from high school and says, I want to go work in a dealership. And it's upon us to change that. So I would love for people to really understand that the auto industry is actually a beautiful place. It's a beautiful place to be in. But let us be part of that change to the rest of the community, to say, to diminish that bad rep. You know, people like I said, we have people who put their kids through college working here, or who can feed their families working here. So the auto industry should be, you know, some place that people consider working. But now you have the opportunity to work for somebody who that giving is really important. And we want the communities to know that we are supporting you because we know that we're here because you supported us. I think it's really important to be part of the business strategy, because we are here because of the community. We live in the communities that we serve. Obviously, I work here. I'm raising my children here. So we want to put back into the community the same that the community's been given to us, and hopefully more. But yeah, that's really what's important, is that supporting local businesses. I'm a small local owned business, so I like to practice what I preach. So when we spend our dollars, the first thing I'm going to look for is something in my community. to recycle those dollars in the community. So that's why it's really important for us to make it part of the business strategy, is because we want everybody to know that we are here, we are in this with you, and if we're going to support one another. Yeah, like I said earlier, we want our children to be good character, have great character, and be great individuals. It's the longevity for them. So I really do hope that they internalize, there's this thing, there's mom guilt, right? The other day, I'm on my phone too much, and I'm like, be quiet, I'm trying to respond to this work email. So I don't want them to see it as mommy never had time for us, but I want them to see it as mommy made time for us. She showed us what it means to work hard. She showed us what it means to give back and to pour into people. And so I really hope that they can take some of that away. Like I said, they have great grandparents and on both sides, and I feel as though they'll get that there, but it's our duty as parents to make sure that we're being a living example of giving back and showing them what it takes to be good citizens and just have great character. So I really hope that they take that from us. The future. So next 10 to 20 years, I just hope we're still relevant. You just never know with technology and the way the economy is going, what that means for the future of dealerships. Hopefully we're still relevant, but we've been doing some things to pivot. For example, EV is so big, but in EV, you don't really need to come back to the dealership much. And so because we're big in fleet, we've done police vehicles, so we're doing the upfit. So we're kind of starting to branch off into other areas. It's automotive, but it's not directly in the dealership. So we can do the upfit on police vehicles. We do the light bars, the gun racks, everything that is on a police vehicle is actually it's actually pretty cool. You pretty much strip down a vehicle, take all the seats out, and then you have to put all the stuff back in. So we're doing that. I'm looking to expand the service department. But again, if you end up going down the road, so right now, service department, there's so many moving parts in the engine and the transmission. Well, if you move more to EV vehicles, you don't have that. So what's that gonna look like, 10, 15 years from now? There's no telling. So obviously, hope to still be here, hope to still be relevant. I'm still young, so I think I got maybe 20 more years in me. And I would love to see third generation come about. I plan to do like my parents did to me and not push them. They don't have to do this. They can do whatever it is they want to be. If they want to be a doctor, a preacher, or, whatever it is that they want to be when they grow up, they can go do that. But to have the opportunity to step into the family business would definitely be super cool to see. When I started out, when I was young and I said I want to grow, I want to take over and I want to grow and I want to be the COO and I want to own all these dealerships. And then when you get into it, you're like, oh, this is expensive. It's expensive, it's a lot. But what they're saying in the dealership world, because there's so many bigger corporations who have bought and there's these big, huge dealership groups, what is said is to be relevant, you need a minimum of 10 dealerships. So as we stand, we might not make it, but you can't really think like that. So I just want to do well at what we're doing. And if it's God's will to grow, great. I worked at Toyota. I would love Toyota. I would love, they're a great franchise. I would also love to see luxury. Who doesn't want a luxury dealership, right? A BMW, a Mercedes, a Lexus. There's a lot of opportunity for expansion, but we really have to just, get our arms around what we have now. But if there's the right opportunity for the right price and the right location at the right time, I'm all for growing. Yeah, so the goal in personal growth is to make sure that people, that they are prepared for long-term success, whether it's within our organization or outside of it. When you come in these doors, it's our goal to make you better than you were yesterday. And so everybody's not meant to retire from Sutton Ford. We've had one of our, she was a finance manager here and she went on to start her own insurance agency. And we just have to be proud that whatever you did here for the 8 years while you were here, that hopefully that you pick some things up that are great for your business moving forward. So the goal of course is to, push people to be the best version of themselves that they can be. One thing I found when I first started was that sometimes I wanted more for them than they wanted for themselves. And that was like a hard pill for me to swallow, but everybody's on their own path. And, I might see a technician who's starting out who I was like, oh man, you can be a journeyman and you can do this. And they might say, no, Karen, I don't want to go through all those extra hoops or extra schooling or, it's more difficult, it's harder on your body, whatever it is, whatever the situation may be. But you have to meet people where they are and whatever it is their goal for themselves, and what we can just do is try to push them. Say no. No. To balance business and leadership, family life, you do have to learn the power of no. But I think that, all that glitters isn't gold. So there's sometimes that, it may look great, but I might be struggling internally. But I've talked about having a village and having the right people around you. So you have the right resources. I put people in my children's life who I believe will be a positive influence on them. My husband is extremely supportive when I have to travel, and like I said, my parents, they live here half the year, so we try to take advantage of that as well. But there are going to be some times when, I don't really take dinner meetings. I take my team out for dinner, but it's strategic because my goal is to be home with my family and make sure I'm spending that time with my family. There'll be certain events that I just don't go to. But now, once my boys get of age, I took my son to we were sponsoring an event, and I took him as my date because my husband stood me up. And I thought it was really good exposure for him. He put his suit on, and he went, and he sat there. But that's also good exposure for them. So there's going to be some opportunities where I am able to bring my family with me. I just hope that, that my kids, they grow up and they can say that they're proud of me, and that they'll soon understand that when I miss certain games or when I miss a recital, I'm not choosing work over you. It's really that's just how we move forward, and it's part of the work ethic. My mentor Dennis, he said, Karen, you're gonna have to be comfortable being uncomfortable, and I had to kind of live in that space. Because I was, I'm beating myself up. Oh, I missed the T-ball practice. And it's like, are your kids really going to grow up when they're 30 years old to be like, Mommy, I remember that one time you didn't go to my T-ball practice. So just be comfortable being uncomfortable, and it's okay to say no to some things because you don't want to spread yourself too thin. But I also make it a point to make time for me. I make sure I have my hair appointments, my nail appointments, because that's the time for me to just to kind of come down. Although I might be working the whole time, it's a version of peace. I enjoy working out, so I have to do that at 5 or 6 in the morning because that's an hour of peace where I'm working on me. So it's a balance. You got to find that balance. Making it through the second generation. So there are some statistics that about half of second generation businesses actually make it. So, you can never rest on your laurels, and there's always something, where I'm always striving better for something every day. Like I said, we might have one department that's not doing well, but even if the others are, there's still going to be opportunity for improvement. So we never settle. So that's kind of what gets me excited about the future, is that there's always a different challenge every day. I really want to make it through the second generation and have the opportunity for a third, as well as my sister and I bought, it's called Coco Ford, outside of Orlando, Florida, about 2.5 years ago in 2022, August 1st of 23. I went in, I'm thinking, I said, oh, you buy an underperforming dealership, you just throw your culture in, you hire the right people, poof, it's not that easy. I'm learning that it's not that easy. And so I just want to see that make it to fruition and that one grow, as well as we kind of started a side business there. It's called Frontline Vehicle Solutions. and that's the upfitting side of the business. So we have a full team down there doing that, but I just really want to see Coco Ford thrive, Frontline Vehicle Solutions, and Sutton Ford. Everything that we're currently doing, make sure that those are thriving and successful. Just always be a lifelong learner. There's always something new to learn. There's always something new that, to be open. People are going to give you advice, and as long as you're continuously learning, that's how you'll be successful and continue it on. Like I'll never know everything. I'll never be the best at anything. But it's always important to be humble, because I feel like as though I'm here because of people that have come before me. So, and I don't take it lightly. Like I've spoken about my faith, and I'm not doing this on my own. It's a higher power. And so you always want to stay humble, because you can get knocked down really quickly, really, really quickly. And just always learning and always being open, because change is inevitable. I would measure success for the future. It's to me, like the true definition of a leader. True definition of a leader is somebody who is able to build other leaders. So if I can look back and I can know that I've mentored, that I've helped somebody, that I've seen somebody grow, and maybe do some things that they weren't expecting to do, I think that would be a really great measurement of success for me for the future. Like I said, I would love for my children to be able to take over, and really just to still be in business and be profitable and be thriving in the community. Also, we talked about being a destination. If Sutton Ford becomes known as a destination, then I would be like, okay, we've made it. That means we've done our job of serving the community, of giving back to the community, of developing people internally, and it's reached out into the atmosphere. So I guess there's a lot to define success, but it's mostly the feeling and the value that are brought to not only the team members but the community. My mom would probably say, she'd probably pat herself on the back. She says that she's still working on us all the time, but really my mom is that foundation. So my dad might have been boots on the ground and at work every day, but my mom is who's keeping the household afloat, who never missed a single tennis match of mine, and was always there for me, and really instilled a lot of the things at home, and the homework and things like that. So I think my mom would probably say I'm a little bit of a tough leader, but I think that she would also just more so be proud to know that the things that she worked on with us at home, and the things that she worked on with us through my father, through a lot of prayer. I'm sure there's many a times where she questioned which way myself or my sisters were really going to go. So my mom has been a big pillar. Even though we talk about the business and we talk about my dad a lot, it would never have happened without my mom. And I think that, my dad tells his own story, but they got married on my grandmother's credit card, which is my mom's mom. So I just think that the way everything came together and was set up for them, and to be a great example of a successful marriage. But yeah, I think my mom would say that, like I said, I think she would pat herself on the back and say, job well done. I would say to my ancestors, I really don't know how they did it. I really do not know how I did it. I would say thank you for fighting. My grandmother was an activist, and I've been down to the African American Museum, where you sit at the lunch counter and they tell you can't move, and then it has like an interactive experience. I just can't imagine what they've been through to get us here. But I'm truly grateful that I had the opportunity to be to witness, for my grandparents to be alive, and for them to say I'm proud of you, for them to have that like tear in their eye, to say wow, like the sacrifices that they've made have gotten us to where we are, and like we really are doing something that was impossible to begin with. Again, that's a lot of the foundation that my parents have and that we have. And that came from their parents and the parents' parents. I would definitely just have a really, really big thank you for them, and the sacrifices that they made to get us to where we were. And now obviously I'm doing that for my children and for the next generation and generation to come. But yeah, I just can't, I don't think I would have made it if I was born in their generation.